and Bakersfield and some other places, but primarily Los Angeles. I do about 4 to 5 shows a week, usually. Although right now I'm on my 8th day of 9 shows in a row every single day, so I overbooked myself, but that's fine. I'll have a couple days off this weekend. So I love comedy, so that's fun to do, and it's a good time.
Carol, how did you get involved in comedy?
My best friend from high school did a comedy workshop and then invited me to go to his showcase. And then I have a very distinctive laugh. That's why my brand is the world's best laugh, because I do have the world's best laugh. So I went to his show, and afterwards a couple comics came up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, you have the best laugh. You have to come to every show." So I started going to a lot of shows, and then more comics became friends, and then more producers became friends. And then a producer was like, one day she's like, "You should be doing this." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "I'm gonna put you in a show next month." And I was like, "Well, then I better write some jokes." So I did, and it's been off to the races ever since then. It's been about 13 years now I've been doing the comedy, stand-up comedy, and it's been quite the ride.
So what have you loved about doing comedy?
It's kept me sane through the pandemic, through the loss of a husband, through the family strife that is my family. I'm the white sheep in a black sheep family. I know that doesn't sound terrible, but like imagine you were 16 and the only thing to do to rebel against your family is not drink, not do drugs, and be responsible. So that was my plight. So yeah, it's it's a social outlet. It's I made a lot of really good friends throughout the years of doing these comedy shows, and I wouldn't give it up for anything, not even a boyfriend.
How would you describe your comedic style?
I would say it's pretty irreverent. I know this is giving third grade school teacher, but inside I'm Suge Knight. Which always catches audience off guard. So yeah, it's mostly just little stories about me, my life, things that have happened to me. So I guess it's kind of a storytelling style, but it's not the story you're expecting for sure.
Now you're a comedy. You mostly do stand-up, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So what is it that you love about stand-up specifically?
It's the immediate gratification of getting that interaction with the audience, of them laughing at what you're saying. There's not a lot of other mediums where you get that immediate gratification of knowing that you've made somebody happy, that you've made them laugh, that what you have to say is amusing to them. And so yeah, that's the best thing about stand-up.
So how do you as a comedian connect with an audience?
Well, usually audiences that have seen me for the first time are expecting one thing and not getting any of that. They are getting something different. And that's one of the bases of comedy is that left turn, that you're expecting a story to go this way and then all of a sudden it goes a whole different way. So I think they always get that from me for sure.
Now, not only do you do comedy yourself, but you're also organizing shows, giving other people a platform.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about how you started doing that.
Well, like I said, I got into it just going to shows and then eventually being in shows. But during the pandemic, there were no bars, there were no clubs, there was no place to go to do comedy. And I was sitting at home going, I'm not just going to sit home and not do comedy. That's not going to happen. So I happened to catch one of my friends doing a Zoom show on Facebook Live. And I went to her and I was like, "How are you doing that? I want to do that. I could do that from home during the pandy." And so she gave me all her secrets, and I started asking all my friends who were comics, "Hey, do you want to do my Zoom show?" And they had nothing better to do, so they all said yes. And then I was doing quite a few Zoom shows for the first 2-3 months of the pandemic, after the shutdown. And then when the summer came, we had some guys come up from San Diego, and they were doing shows outside over the car stereo. And so we started doing those shows with them, and they were open mics, but And then after a couple of months of that, they were like, well, we got to get back to San Diego. So we're not going to be back. And I was like, no, no, no. What about our open mic? And they were like, well, if you want to take it over. I was like, heck yeah, I'll take it over. So I took it over. I started doing that show outside in a parking lot in Fry's, Burbank. And we would have 25, 30 people a night, every Saturday night, coming out to do outside comedy with real people in the parking lot, sitting in their cars, listening to it over the stereo. So along with that, at the same time, I also thought, well, I've got a portable speaker at home and a mic. I think I'll just take it over to the park and we'll do a park mic. Let's do that. And so I started doing park mics, car shows, and at one point between the Zoom shows and the live shows, I was doing 8 shows a week. So, and then when things opened back up, I had some cafe shows on the patios of cafes. I had a restaurant show in Koreatown, and before I knew it, I was back to doing, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 shows a week. So, all those relationships that I built during the pandy of all those comics who had no place else to go, really, they stuck, a lot of them. So a lot of those people are people that I still to this day book for shows. And, I've done some big shows, I've done some small shows, I've done some paid shows, I do a lot of free shows. So I just, I don't say no to things. I guess that's my big secret. Don't say no, just say yes.
Now, how did doing these shows outside change how you would approach the shows?
They did. I mean, I cut my teeth on doing those Zoom shows where I was doing a show every single week, asking, a dozen people or so to come do the show. And I just translated that to the outside shows. I just, kind of kept the same format where I was, doing 10, 12 people a show, a 90 to 120-minute show. And then just kind of kept doing the same process for inside shows, kind of, just translating it along the way and teaching myself, much like I taught myself how to do comedy, I taught myself how to book, host, and produce shows. So, yeah.
So what goes into producing a comedy show?
You got to get the people, you got to get the comics, and you try to get the best comics that you can. Kind of, for me personally, I love to have diversity. I love to have women comics and people of color. So I try to keep it a mixture of all of those kind of people. And I have, fortunately, a few really good friends who are national headliners who will come and do my shows. So you try to get the best people you can to do the show, and then hopefully, they help you sell tickets or get people to come and see the show. They'll bring a few friends, and then you have a show, where 2 or more are gathered. You have a show.
Are there any comedians that you would like to shout out?
Comedians, I would say for sure Mike Muratori. He's hilarious. He's a national headliner. He's one of those people that I'll book him on every single show if I can. Any show he ever wants to do, I always say yes. And Rosalie Mayo, she's a national touring comic. She's hilarious and just one of the sweetest people. Producers, I'd have to shout out for sure the Young Baca Productions. They're infamous in Los Angeles, and also they do Texas, New York, and some other places, but they have made a lot of opportunities for comics to do shows. And of course, Darius Washington, who reached out to me during the pandemic and said, hey, I'm going to send some comics your way. They're pretty big comics, but they need a place too. So he's one of the reasons where I am. He's found me all these little spots to do shows and really made it possible for me to expand my empire.
Now, have you learned as you produce these, have you learned anything that you've incorporated into your own comedy?
Of course, you always learn from other comics. Like, a lot of times you'll do a show and then somebody will give you a tag for a joke, or they'll give you a different perspective on a joke. So we're always learning from each other. We also do, open mics. I started out with open mics a long, time ago, but those are learning opportunities for all of us. So yeah, of course, I've learned a lot from the other comics. A lot of times they'll say, oh, when you do that joke, you should say it this way, or you should say it that way, or add this or add that. So yeah, 100%, always learning from each other.
Now, what's the most challenging thing about running these shows?
Getting the audience, always my challenge, getting the audience. That's the biggest thing is there's so many comics in Los Angeles, and especially since things opened up back up after the pandemic, there's so many clubs, so many little spots, so many shows. I'm probably more exposed to it just being in the comedy game. So my Instagram feed is just full of shows, people that I know that are in shows, people I don't know that are in shows. Believe it or not, there's still a few people I don't know. But yeah, it's the audience trying to get people to come to a show on a Wednesday at 9:30 at night is a big challenge. And a lot of people are not trying to do that. They got work the next day. They're trying to go to sleep. So it's always a challenge trying to get people to come see a show.
So what days tend to be the best for drawing an audience?
Weekends, of course. Weekends, Friday night, Saturday night. But we do shows every single day sometimes. So I have a show that I do every single Tuesday with another producer that's called Dive Bar Comedy. We do every Tuesday. That's her schedule. We do a show in one place one week and the next place the other week. So we have like a whole monthly little rotation of places that we do shows. And, whatever shows you're doing, there's always going to be comics that want to do it and comics that have friends that want to come see them. And so we almost always have at least, some audience.
Now, you're doing a 9-day marathon of shows. How? How are you doing that?
I just get up and do it. I have a day job. I have a 40-hour-a-week regular job, and then I leave work and I go do a show. And most of my shows are in Hollywood, downtown, the Valley. So some in the OC, some in different places. But I just that's my social life. I don't go home. I go do a show and then I go home. So I just say yes to everything. That's how I do shows all the time.
So you've been doing this for a decade. In that decade, how has the comedy scene changed?
It's grown. That's for sure. It has grown. There's more comics in Los Angeles than ever before. A lot of them took a break during the pandemic and didn't really do shows. They just stayed home. They were afraid, or they had family that were compromised, or whatever the case may be. So it kind of took a big dip at that point, but we were still out there. I didn't stay home. I had an essential job, so I was out in the streets anyways. So but yeah, it's ever since the pandemic was over, it has grown a lot. So yeah, there's more comics now than ever. And they're coming out every day. I met somebody yesterday that's brand new that's been in it for 2 months, 3 months. So yeah, they're not going anywhere in LA anyways.
What advice do you have for new comedians?
First rule of comedy: be funny. Second rule: cut the fat. Set up punchline is always a good rule of thumb. For every setup, you should have a punchline. If you have 3 setups, you should have 3 punchlines. And the reps. Do as many shows as you can, do as many mics as you can. It's really easy now today. One of the things that has happened since the pandy is slotted mics, where you can sign up online for a specific time at a specific club. So you can do 3-4 mics in one night. So it's the more reps you do, the more times that you get up in front of an audience and try to make them laugh, the funnier you will be, the sooner you will be funny.
And then are there any comedians that you particularly admire?
The greats like, Dave Chappelle and Sarah Silverman and Amy Schumer and Tiffany Haddish for sure. And then, just there's a local comedian network of people that I book a lot that are fantastic. So, but you probably haven't seen them or heard of them, but they're out there. So, come to any show in LA. Follow me. I have shows all the time. And you can come to all of them. They're almost all free. So, but it's a good time. It's always a good time.
How can people who are new to the comedy scene or new to LA meet other comedians?
Go to an open mic. There's open mics at the clubs all the time. There's the Hollywood Comedy. They do open mics all week, every night pretty much. There's Flappers. There's just go hang out at the clubs. You'll meet 1,000 comedians. Hang out at the Comedy Store on the patio. Go to Flappers and hang out. Any of the big clubs, you'll meet comedians for sure. For sure.
And then, where can our audience see you?
Well, like I said, I'm on the Instagram at the World's Best Laugh, the World's with an S, Best Laugh. I'm on Facebook also as the World's Best Laugh and Carol Newell. And I have shows all the time, so come see a show.
Yeah, are there any shows that people should look out for in the near future?
Well, tonight I'll be in Koreatown at Baja Grill. Tomorrow I'll be at Accidental Chaos in Hollywood near Santa Monica and Orange. It's a little hole-in-the-wall place, but comics love it, and audiences do too. So come out and see a show for sure.
Carol, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
here. I know you have to run to that show, but thank you so much. It's been great to talk to you.
Oh, so nice to meet you.
And thank you, viewers, for watching.